I know there is another AI design tool that's new, and you're probably wondering, do I really need to learn something else? I get it, but I'm going to ask you to give me a few minutes because Claude Design just dropped a few days ago. Anthropic just rolled it out, and it's different from anything else out there. So if you are a web designer or you design a website for yourself, there are some things worth knowing here. So let's dive in. Okay, first of all, I want to be really clear that this is Claude Design. It is not Claude Code. Claude Code is a tool that lets you write and run code using AI. It's a different product and it's mainly built for developers. So Claude Design is different and it's new. So you can see here, there is this little palette icon. When I roll over it, it says design. If you are on a paid Claude plan, you should be seeing this now. And Claude Design is a visual design environment. You use it to create mockups, prototype website layouts, design slides, and build design systems, all through a combination of prompts, drawing, and direct editing. You don't need any coding. Think of it a little like Figma, but instead of building everything from scratch, component by component, you're having a conversation. You describe what you want, you tweak it visually, and it generates and regenerates on the fly. Now, is it a Figma killer? I know I've been hearing that. We're going to get to that. But first, let me show you the two features that I think actually matter for web designers. Now, the first feature that I want to talk about is the design system. Okay, we're inside Claude. And like I said, if you have a Claude Pro or Team subscription, you're going to see this design icon. When you click on that, it's going to bring you into Claude Design. There is a quick tutorial here that I recommend you go through before you use Claude Design. But the cool thing that I want to talk about is this set up a design system. So when you open a new project, this is the first thing that it's going to ask you to do. And it might sound kind of intimidating, but here's what it actually means. You just feed it your brand files, your logo, your color palette, your fonts, and Claude Design reads all of that and then builds a design system automatically. It's going to be your colors, your typography, your visual style, all extracted and stored so that everything you create inside this tool already looks like your brand. So here we are in set up your design system, and it's going to ask you for a lot of information here, but don't panic. It's trying to learn your brand. So the more you give it now, the more consistent everything you create will look. And if you don't give it this guidance right now, you're going to get something a lot more generic looking. It will look like AI built it. The design system feature is what gets you past that generic AI type thing. It's your foundation, and it makes every prototype you create after this look intentional, not just like a random placeholder. So let's go ahead and set this up. And so I've added a whole bunch of fonts, logos, and assets here, some images, my custom font that I use, and then any other notes. I said I use Editor's Note custom font by Jen Wagner for headings and Sophia Pro for body text. My style is clean, minimal, but warm. I haven't given this a ton, right? It's pretty basic, but we're going to see how it goes. So continue to generate your system. It says it's going to take about 5 minutes to generate your design system, and you do need to actually click that generate button here to have it start. Ask me how I know. Okay, so it did take a little longer than 5 minutes. It was about 7.5 minutes, and it's letting me start my review here. So it says it's still working, but you can start giving feedback on the work so far. So it wants me to look at the color palette, and it has divided up things that need review. So different colors, fonts. All right. I'm just going to go through and say looks good on all of these things. These are not the style buttons that I like. So I prefer rectangular button. My logo's there. Okay. And it's come back now with those updated buttons, and I'm going to say it looks good. All right, my design system is now ready. So what I can do is click new design using the system. And this is where I can create a new prototype. Now, once you've set up your design system, you'll see it here. But if you go to design systems, you can actually open it and you can make changes. So if you want to come back in and tweak the color palette or anything else, you can absolutely do that. And the cool thing is that you can go back to the design systems and add a new one. So if you are working with client websites, you can come and create a design system for your client website as well. This is my default, but I can choose to use a different one with a different prototype project. Okay, the second thing that I think is really cool is you can actually give Claude Design screenshots of inspiration sites. So I just took a screenshot of the kit.com website using Go Full Page, and I fed that into a new project. So when you start a new project, just call this test. I'm going to create a high fidelity website, and you can add a screenshot. Let me go back here. I just called it client site. And you can see that I gave it a really, really brief prompt. So this homepage should be for an app to connect online entrepreneurs, 3 cities to start, meetups, and testimonials. And it asked me a lot of questions, which were really helpful in figuring out what type of information I wanted to share. And for some of the things, like, it's like, what's your app's name? I'm like, I don't know. And it said, I can use a placeholder, Founderly. Perfect. And it asked me a lot of questions about what I wanted to see. One of those was variations. So I told it I wanted to see different hero layouts and different color palettes. Now, just know that the more variations you ask for, the more credits it's going to eat. So don't go crazy there if you're just playing around, but I wanted to see what that would be like. So you can see here all of the things that Claude Design is doing to build this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this project. It's called Founderly. It's actually not bad. Like, it's fine. It's actually a clean design. I love the meetups section. Um, yeah, I don't hate it. So I think it's a really nice start. It feels a little generic, sure, but I didn't give it much to work with. And that's the thing, right? If I'd given it more direction, brand guidelines, brand styles, it would have been better, or at least less generic. So here are some things we can do. It gave me 2 different options. There's an editorial hero layout and a statement hero layout. So it gave me 2 options there that I asked for. And it's going to let me change the accent color. So you can play around with this. I like orange. That's one of the accent colors on my site. And then the headline, I can change the room your career has been missing. Find the people you wish you already knew. Stop networking, start belonging. Ooh, I actually really like that. So it's giving me some options here. And I don't mind this. Yeah, so I asked for different hero layouts, accent color tweaks, and different headlines. So I'm pretty pleased with the starting point for this, right? And now what we can do is we can go into the comments here and I can start commenting on things. So if I want to say, can you replace this with an image? All right, it says it's done. I'm going to reload for the new version. Awesome. Now I can get more of a feel for what it would look like with imagery. For this section, I want to comment that I'd like a little, leave a bit of space between these image elements. This is where I'm thinking I'll see like mini avatars or headshots. So if you want to tweak design, that's how you can do it through these comments. You can also just hop right in and edit text. Let's go ahead and reload this. Yeah, I don't see any difference there. Okay, so yeah, some of this is still buggy, right? It just rolled out. Let's go ahead and click edit, and I can edit the base text size here, the font, or the background. But what I want to do here is I'm going to change some of the text here, and it's just like any kind of CMS. So that is super easy. So this is really fun. It does have kind of the card elements that I liked on the kit site, so I'm happy about that. It's got a lot that it didn't pull from there, but overall, I think this is a great fast way to prototype. And when you're ready to export it, you can do this. You can send it to Canva, you can export it as a PDF, a PowerPoint, standalone HTML. So if you wanted to just pop this in as HTML, you totally could. You can also hand it off to Claude Code, which is super cool. So I do think that this could be pretty powerful for client work because it's really easy to build it fast here, right? You're rapid prototyping and you can make tweaks really quickly here just by chatting with Claude. You're not building it inside of a CMS and then editing there. It's just going to be a lot faster. So, something that you were spending hours building in a CMS, you can prototype it here in like 20 minutes, show the client the options, get the sign off, and then build out the final version. So it's a, super speedy workflow. All right. So I saw a lot of things online and videos like Claude Design is replacing Figma. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. So here's what I've seen from designers who have thoroughly tested Claude Design. The layouts can get really messy. Spacing isn't always perfect. And the thing that Figma does really well is component consistency, and that's just not there yet in Claude Design. One designer put it really well in a comment that I read. They said, it's a rough minimum viable product, Claude Design, with a lot of interesting ideas that already exist elsewhere. It's all just kind of baked together in a new way. So, if you're a professional user interface designer who lives inside Figma, this is not replacing your workflow anytime soon. But I do think it can be really useful in a few different situations. The first is for early stage client mockups. It's really fast for rough concepts. It's great for web designers who aren't coming from a design tool background, who want to play around with AI. It has a lot easier learning curve. And it's also great for just getting unstuck. So if you are staring at a blank page as a web designer, you're not quite sure where to start. There are moments where I think this kind of rapid prototyping before you dive in can be really helpful as part of your planning process to help you get some ideas done faster. So starting from somewhere is often much better than starting from a blank page. And I think it's great for that. So Claude Design is a prototyping and ideation tool. It's not a production design tool. So once you set that as your expectation, I think it's actually pretty good. But what do you actually need to know before you use Claude Design? One, it's not free. Claude Design runs on Claude's like really powerful model, which means it eats tokens and fast. So not only do you need a paid Claude subscription to even start playing with this, the cost can add up with heavier usage because you're going to have to buy more tokens. The next thing to know, it just launched. So it's a little bumpy, right? It has some rough edges, things that don't work perfectly. There are bugs, and that's normal for a brand new product. It's just worth knowing so you're not frustrated if something breaks. There was a feature that I was looking for that I saw in a couple of documents online and I couldn't find it. So there's some weirdness there, but just know it's new, it's going to get better, and it's fun to play with now. The next thing that I touched on briefly was you can export it to HTML. So when you're happy with a prototype, you can go ahead and do that, which is really useful as a visual reference. You can open it in your browser alongside your website builder and then build toward it that way. So you're not copying and pasting the code directly, but it gives you a really clear target to shoot for. And for a visual design planning tool that doesn't require any coding knowledge, it's really handy. And it's definitely going to keep getting better fast. So if you found this helpful, please give the video a like or leave a comment below. That helps other people find this video too. And if you've already tried Claude Design and you have thoughts on it, I'd love to hear those in the comments. Let's figure this one out together. I've linked Claude Design in the description below so you can go and explore it yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and I wish you all the best with your website.